Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is August 22nd, 2021, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Microsoft rallies the market rebound back after a major sell-off last week. But first, looking at the major economic events of the day, out of the European Union at 9:30 South African time, we have a German flash manufacturing PMI number coming out and a services PMI number coming out. That's an important two numbers for the euro. Now looking at the major sectors, first starting out with the Forex symbols, the major pairs bouncing back versus the US dollar. In terms of the indices, the Nasdaq on its highs while the Dow Jones bounces back on back of Microsoft. Now looking at commodities, gold pretty much unchanged and oil trades lower. As we look at the stocks, Microsoft hits new record highs, rallying the market as mentioned. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, also trading higher. So that's coming back. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trade. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart. Nice little bounce from 16.69 up to 17.15-ish level, about a 50 to 60 pip rally here. I would really call it a bounce. Okay, now I don't like to pick bottoms. This was a decent bottom to actually pick because if we look at the weekly, that was a congested area right here at 17, just below 117-ish level. So that was a interesting trade. Now we have a lot of room to still make a little bit of a comeback here as we've hit this area. Now we're at an important level. Okay, ultimately this is a support level. But if we do break it, we could be back in this 116.10-ish level. I don't think we're going to get there because I think the Dow Jones is going to bounce. I'm going to get a little bit stronger, thereby depressing the price of the dollar. So keep that in mind as we go into today's major number out of the euro. Now looking at the Aussie USD, also breaking its 30-day moving average. Let's see on a daily how far down we are. We still have some room to make back here, back to the 77.27-ish level, just above this 72-ish level, 72.07 level, just below the 72-ish level. So that's something to consider as we're making this consolidation. Now GBP USD also bouncing and breaking that daily support, but not on a daily. Okay, so we are making that supportish level. As you can see here, this is decent support right here at 136.24-ish level. So we are bouncing here, but nothing major here. Okay, it is still trading in the bottom of the range. So keep that in mind looking at today. Now the Rand really got clobbered last week, and we did mention this. Okay, once it broke that 150 or 15-ish level, it's all she wrote, 1536. And now we're retracing down to 1522 and then bouncing back up 15. So ultimately, you know, the Rand is relatively weak. Yes, does it have resistance at 1545? It does, but it still has room to correct itself, okay, especially as we go into today's session. Now looking at the USD Cad, also very interesting here. A 130 rally to this 130-ish level and then retraced, but also weaker versus the dollar if we look at the bigger picture. Now looking at gold, pretty much unchanged for the weekly trading. Okay, this may pick up if we do break this moving average on this upper end at 1790-ish level. That would be something that's interesting if that does happen. Now looking at gold, you see we're free falling here, 62.23, a nice retracement from $72 over the past month. Now all said and done, this Delta variant that is coming out and has really wreaked havoc around the world, where we thought we were past this coronavirus and people were vaccinated in most of, you know, the Western world, and now we're seeing that it's not as effective and people are going back into somewhat of isolation. There is, you know, it's not happening yet, but there is some restrictions on travel and it's going to get worse. So remember, the markets are always trading 3 to 6 months ahead. So with that said, this is being affected with that coronavirus. This is the anticipation that, you know, travel and some of the consumption of oil will be deterred because of this current coronavirus fourth wave, third wave, I don't know, depending where you are in the world. Now looking at the Dow Jones, okay, this is where we're at. Okay, this was really an interesting trade last week at 35,000 500 at the beginning of the week, and then we tanked to 34,400-ish level, and now we're at 35,200. So a big comeback. Okay, we're only about 300 points from our all-time highs. When we look at the individual stocks, they're not going higher. However, there is one stock that is going higher, and that is Microsoft, strong like a bull. And we mentioned this last week that it was not retracing. It did sell off a little bit, but nothing really much as the market really retraced itself, but showing some tremendous strength here as it pulled up the market. Now, looking at the Nasdaq also, it rebounded, okay, because for a while this was not really breaking down. Finally, it did break down to 14,900-ish level. But that's also a relatively small play for something that's been trading at this 15,000-ish level. So we're really almost at our highs. Now we look at the individual stocks. Apple, relatively strong, consolidating at this upper level. Okay, Alcoa did get beat up and not bouncing here. So this is showing relative strength. So that we may see further selling here. JP Morgan also a little bit of a bounce, but nothing really to write home about. Now when we look at Amazon, this is something important because this has been relatively pretty weak. So we may see further weakness in this as this continues trading. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, all right, this is where it's at 50,108. Big comeback for Bitcoin as this has gone from 30,000 to 50,000 over the past month, and really a tremendous rebound, okay, after hitting that low. So, you know, this can still break back to its 60,000 level, okay? I mean, this is just showing you how volatile this particular symbol is. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.